Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports, an association with Round for Round Boxing. The latest news we have from Round for Round Boxing has just been released. The former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the first man to beat Iron Mike Tyson, as was back then in Tokyo, James Buster Douglas has joined Round for Round Boxing. So we're really happy about that. We're we're pretty excited about that. So that's fantastic news. If you want to check out the video that comes with that, that is on the channel at the moment. James Buster Douglas, the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, confirming that he now is a part of Round for Round Boxing. And he will be a playable character in Round for Round Boxing. And if you're out there, James, just it's a pleasure to be working with you now. Okay, this is Dillian Whyte versus Dereck Chisora 2 pre-weigh-in thoughts. And I think this is important this time round. I don't usually do pre-fight weigh-ins, and but for this fight, I think it's important. I think this is important for a number of reasons. You see, first and foremost, I think we've got to look at the two guys that, yes, world breaker fighting. Good to see you, champ. First thing that's really important about this fight is there's been a lot of talk. First of all, Dereck Chisora saying he's now a born again Christian and he's given his life to God, and he's got David Haye, who's his best friend, has come on now, and Don Charles is working with David Haye. They're all working well together, and camp's working great, and Bryant Jennings has come back and doing training, and it all sounds swimmingly well with Dereck Chisora. But training regimes, I spoke to Xavier Miller, who also assists with Don Charles as a trainer from IQ Boxing Academy. A shout out to Xavier Miller as well. If you want to check out that interview, that is available not on BWTM Sports, but on my own personal channel, Ingram Jones. And while you're over there at Ingram Jones, hit the subscribe button. There's some nice, interesting stuff that's over there that you probably won't see at BWTM. Anyway, moving forward. So Dereck Chisora's talked about this regime and training regime and the changes he's made. We've seen Dereck Chisora through the years. We've seen him move up in weight. We've seen him move down in weight. We've seen him change trainers. We've seen him do a lot of things in his career. Dereck Chisora has never been the most stable of characters. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful sense. But if you look throughout his career, he's coming to big fights motivated. He's coming to fights unmotivated. He's coming to fights where he is, everything's been on the line for him versus Haye. I mean, I don't know how more intense you could get between him and David Haye, and I was right in the thick of things. And to be honest, I don't think there's been much development in Dereck Chisora as a fighter. I don't think there has. I think he's become more experienced, but I don't know if you've seen a development of Dereck Chisora's career. His right hand over the top has always been there over the top, but that right hand landed on Takam. But let's be honest, before the knockout of Takam, he was taking a beating, and he was taking a beating. Takam was beating him to the punch. Takam was landing more punches than him. Takam was outworking him. The difference between Takam and some of the bigger punches in the heavyweight division is a bigger puncher probably would knock Dereck Chisora out, because Chisora was getting beaten up in there until he landed that right hand. Now, it's a case of whether Takam ran out of steam, which I think he did, and he just shot his load. He just kept going for Chisora, and Chisora was able to land that big punch at the end. But if Chisora couldn't land that big punch at the end, let's be honest, Chisora on points, Takam would have outworked Chisora over 12 rounds. That's a fact, because Chisora was being outworked by Takam. So Takam loss of concentration or stamina issues, well, that may be a point to look at. The other thing is, from Dereck Chisora's side, he talks about how he's made all these changes and he's done these things. And then you listen to the press conference and he starts out okay, and he starts out talking, I'm a born-again Christian, I'm this and that, I've given my life to God. And by the end, he's talking about anal beads, and he's talking about how he's going to F a person up and all this sort of stuff he's talking about, which is contrary to what, if he said he's given his life over, is contrary to what, I'm not getting a religious stance. I'm just trying to state that this is what a man has said and this is what he's doing. So it shows the inconsistency there in Dereck Chisora. David Haye's come on board. And of course, when David Haye gets on board, it's going to be magic, because David says he's bigger, he's better, he's stronger, he's faster. He's meant to say that. Remember, David Haye is a promoter. And also remember, Haymaker Promotions. I know that this is an Eddie Hearn card, but I also noticed that it's got Haymaker on the bill. So I'm kind of wondering now if deep down, David Haye is Dereck Chisora's promoter. That's what he is. Because if Don Charles is still the trainer and David Haye's kind of there seen, he's the promoter. So David's not going to sit down and tell you, Derek's not been training right. And you can't trust David Haye when it comes to when he makes a statement. So you don't know what's been going on in camp. Dereck does look like he's put in the work. Dereck does look like he's fit. Dereck look like he looks all those things. So the weighing is going to be very important. If Dereck has bulked up, then one of the things we need to look at is speed. If he's bulked up and heavier, then he looks like he's thicker. He looks like he's more solid. So is that going to take away a bit of speed when Derek's moving forward against Dillian? The other thing about Dereck is, because he's put all that work in, we still don't know. He's now sparring hard. He's been sparring hard. He had that fight against Takam. We really don't know how much Dereck Chisora's got left in the tank. It was a hard fight against Takam. They had that fight in Europe against, where he was unmotivated. He talked about feeling like a slave and all the rest of it. That's Dereck Chisora for you. He'll always tell you how he feels. Okay? So I think also in the whole Sky Sports thing where he walked out, I suspected it was something to do with promotions, and he wasn't prepared to do any more than he needed to do. And it was just Derek's way of doing what Dereck does. And I respect Dereck for that, because he just says what he says, and it is how he feels. So you can only respect a man for what he's doing. So now, on the other side, the flip side, Dillian Whyte, consistent, same trainer, Loughborough University. Consistency, Dillian Whyte. And every fight, just a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. He's using world-class facilities at Loughborough. I know that the cricket team also uses Loughborough as well, university, for training. World-class facilities. Whyte is away, honing at his craft, and becoming better and better and better. If you listen to the way Dillian Whyte talks, if you listen to the way when Dillian Whyte started his career to what he's doing now, you can see there's been a consistency. There's been a change in the way the man goes about his business. He's been more professional in the way he goes about his business. You listen to him at a press conference now. He is an experienced fighter now. So therefore, when he's listening to what Dereck Chisora is doing, he's now saying, well, I'm not the kid I was many years ago that has to get involved in all this stuff. I listen to what you got to say, and I'll pick out sense from nonsense. And I've got a good, and you listen to his trainer. And his trainer, you've got to give a lot of respect to his trainer, because it's his trainer and him who've evolved Dillian Whyte. People are expecting to see the same fight that they saw the first fight. That is not possible. Time and season tells us this. It's not possible to have the same fight again. These two have gone on two totally different paths. Since the first fight, Whyte is considered to go on, has moved up in class, and has fought better opposition than Dereck Chisora. Dereck Chisora has lost since the last two have met before at European level. He lost in an unmotivated performance. Whatever Dereck wants to say, Dereck hasn't been as dedicated as Dillian Whyte. You can't just switch on dedication on and off. Whyte has been a more dedicated fighter. I think the first fight, Chisora should have won the fight, I think. But again, why was Dereck Chisora unable to actually put the finishing touches on the fight? Fitness, stamina, lack of preparation. So I feel Dereck Chisora's lack of preparation, because he did not come into the fight in a shape as he should have been. Because if you look at the fight, there were times where Dereck literally had to take a backward step because he didn't have the fitness to fight the 12 rounds the way he should have done. And if you look at Dereck Chisora, he fights in bursts. And guys that fight in bursts usually do it because they've trained a certain way. They've trained a certain way, stamina-wise. They fight, they train a bit, and they let off. They train a bit, and then they let off. They train a bit, and they let off. Chris Eubank was another one like that. Couldn't fight for a full 3 minutes for 12 rounds. Bam, 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 bam. Step off, look. Take a breather. Bam, 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 bam. Chisora's another thing. Chisora will sit on the ropes and let you hit him on the ropes, and then he'll launch off the ropes. I've seen him do it in sparring. I saw him do it with Ustinov, big Ustinov, landing punches on Chisora. Chisora sitting on the ropes, taking punishment, and then coming off the ropes. It's a punishing sort of style that Dereck Chisora has. So there is a possibility that Dereck Chisora in this fight could be, I won't say a shot fighter, but he's past his best, I think, personally. I don't think Dereck Chisora can get any better. As for Dillian Whyte, he's still got time to improve. I think Dereck Chisora is going to get the shock of his life when he fights Dillian Whyte the second time. Because when he fought him the first time, he was a guy who hadn't gone 12 rounds. He was a guy that was naive and didn't know the boxing game the way he knows now. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and with experience, this is a different fighter. It's a different animal to the guy Dereck fought the first time round. Very different. He's been consistent. He's been winning. He's been growing in confidence. And that last fight against Jose Parker, where he done him the world of good. I know what I mean. People say in the last minute of the fight, well, you know, he went down against Jose Parker, and yeah, he did. But he still got up and won the fight. So Dillian Whyte has got heart as well. He's got heart as well. So people are forgetting that he's improving as a fighter, Dillian Whyte. He's learning now how to channel his energies. And I think when I saw the press conference, I said fists are going to fly. And when I said fists are going to fly, I was meaning Dillian Whyte on Dereck Chisora. I don't think Chisora's got half the idea of what he's expecting in a rematch. They fought the first time round, but it's going to be a different fight. And if you're an experienced fighter, whereas an inexperienced fighter, you learn to pick your punches better. You learn to place your punches better. You also know what's coming at you. So Dereck Chisora will be stronger. He may be fitter, but he's still the same old Dereck Chisora. And I think that if Dillian Whyte can get to Dereck early, hit him and hurt him early, he can discourage him. And Dereck can be discouraged in fights. We saw the fight he put on against Tyson Fury, where Fury was able to discourage Chisora. So if things are not going right into Chisora corner early, or Dereck Chisora comes to the fight itself and he switches off, Dereck is temperamental. 1 minute Dereck Chisora is up for a fight, next minute he's not. So he could be up for a fight right up to the bell and then not be up for it or be demotivated. A demotivated Dereck Chisora does not stay 12 rounds with Dillian Whyte at this time. It doesn't. Consistency. I keep saying consistency, consistency, consistency. Working, honing your craft and getting better at it every time. So the weighing's going to be key as to what weight Chisora comes in at as much as Dillian Whyte. I want to see consistency. I want to see because everything that Whyte would have done will be recorded. It will be recorded in a world-class fashion. All this shifting and changing Dereck's had in his camp, no disrespect to his camp or what his camp does, but his times, White's times, and everything will be recorded at Loughborough University. It is a world-class facility, and it's key. And when you're working with your trainer, and you've got consistency working with your trainer, same trainer over and over and over again, you've got a plan. You're working on 1 year plan, a 2 year plan, a 3 year plan, a 4 year plan, a 5 year plan. And that's what Dillian Whyte is seeing. You're seeing a plan from Dillian Whyte from where he started his career to where he is now in his career. Because when Tibbs took over with Dillian Whyte, you're seeing an evolution of a fighter. He's now becoming a wily old boxer puncher. That's what Dillian Whyte's becoming. Before he was just a brawler, but now his style is evolving to being a puncher, boxer who can brawl a bit. When Dillian Whyte brawls, that's where he goes. He starts throwing all these funny looking punches, and he just needs to be. If he stays compact, he'll be okay in this fight, I think. So I don't know. I want to see what weight Dereck Chisora comes in for this fight. It will be interesting. And then once we find out how much Dereck weighs, we'll have a better idea of how he looks that way. So I'm going to look at that first, his weight and what he comes in at. Again, I don't believe Dereck Chisora can get any better as a fighter. I just don't. I think he's been in too many hard fights. Yeah. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you think in terms of weight, size, strength, fitness, determination, consistency, being with the same trainer. So in terms of consistency and winning records and winning mentality. And the one other thing between these two guys here, there's one guy here in Dereck Chisora who knows that if he loses, he can come back and rebuild. And he doesn't mind if he loses because he can come back and rebuild because he always rebuilds. And there's another guy, Dillian Whyte, losing is not an option. And that, when it comes down to it, in this fight, is crucial. You know, I've rebuilt before. Okay. That's not the mentality of Dillian Whyte. He's not looking to rebuild in this fight. He's looking to move on. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts. Mentality, what we say and what we speak, is very powerful. I remember when Joseph Parker mentioned that, you know, he was set for life. I knew at that point in time he'd lost the fight with Dillian Whyte, plus the fact that he was open to left hooks. Let's just see how this fight plays out and how the weigh-in goes. Again, as always, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments as always. Thank you for your support. We're out of here. Take care.